Okay, don't mind me getting a little crankier than normal in this video, but that's because Nissan did something that really irks me. And it has to do with the next transition, actually. But I wanted to talk about the Nissan Leaf, as some people will call that the grandfather of electric vehicles. I mean, we've had electric vehicles before the Leaf, just they weren't really much of a success due to battery chemistry at the time. The Nissan Leaf was pretty much the first electric car that actually worked. The problem was it was only limited to city stuff, and that's why the Tesla Model S was arguably the electric car that redefined the electric car. Because pretty much any attempt before the Model S, all of it was pretty much, oh, it's fine for city, it's got enough range and functionality for around the city, but whoever wanted to take that thing across the country, nope, cannot do it. The original Tesla Model S, that was the first electric vehicle that could, and that's why we put so much emphasis on older Tesla Model S's and completely forgetting about the original Nissan Leaf. But the Nissan Leaf was a great city car, albeit it did have quite a few limitations, such as its small range, its air-cooled battery pack, which is a problem in hot environments, and then also it had not necessarily the greatest charging capabilities. First of all, it was limited to 50 kilowatts even to this day, but then it was also using a standard for the longest time that was pretty much dead here in the US for quite a few years at this point. CHAdeMO. For the longest time, the Leaf has still been using CHAdeMO until the new Leaf came out. So let's discuss a few things about the new Leaf and explain why I'm a bit angry on what they did with the new Leaf. Let's begin. So I'm gonna get the positives out of the way first, because I should know they made so many changes to the Nissan Leaf that it's really hard to argue the value, and it actually makes it a lot better than just, oh, your standard boring little city car. This car now has a usable range of 300-ish miles or so, which means, hey, we can take this thing on a road trip. We're not limited to city limits anymore. We also have a new liquid-cooled battery pack, so that means it's not going to cook itself in hot environments and during charging sessions in general. And from a software perspective, this new Leaf has route planning, which is a big deal for a lot of new EV drivers. And so, yeah, they've made so many positive changes to this. I think they also made the car a little bit bigger, but not too much to, well, it's a Leaf. It's not supposed to be the biggest vehicle out there. They wanted to keep it efficient. That was a big selling point of it, just its energy efficiency, which from the sounds of it, I don't think they compromised on it too much, which is a good thing. And so, yeah, they made quite a few positive changes to the Leaf, from both under the hood and in the software, and hopefully new Leaf customers are going to be very well pleased with it. There's just one slight issue that I have with the Nissan Leaf, and it has to do with the way the car actually charges. A while back, I made a video on Mercedes planning to actually switch to the NACS connector, and their plans were not particularly smart, if you know what I mean. If you recall from that video, I mentioned that not only was Mercedes going to add the NACS port, but they were also going to still keep around the J1772 port, or another name that's easier to say, the Type 1 connector. You know, this Type 1 connector. And their reasoning, and this goes for Nissan as well, is, well, a lot of people currently have these types of chargers in their homes, which that is true to an extent. But then there's also the fact that in terms of public AC equipment out there, most of the time you're going to find Type 1 connectors instead of NACS connectors on public AC equipment. And so, yeah, I can understand, okay, yeah, during this transition time, it's going to be a bit awkward because pretty much all public AC interfacing equipment is still using this connector. But guys, did you really think we didn't think of a solution? Tesla thought of this long ago with the original Model S. You guys may not know this, but these things are so cheap. Tesla sells these for $50 on their website, but you can get these official Tesla Type 1 to NACS adapters for $25 off of eBay. And yes, this is Tesla's official one that I bought for cheaper. And basically, all you need to do, should you encounter a public AC charger that doesn't have the NACS connector, all you need to do is just take your Type 1 connector, you plug it into this adapter, and then you take your charge port here, plug it in, and boom, you are AC charging using a Type 1 connector. And again, these things are cheap. That's why I have a problem with this. These adapters are so cheap, and while, yeah, nobody likes living in adapter land, in the current landscape, sure, the Nissan Leaf does have supercharger access, but then what if there's other public chargers that you'd want to access? Like, say, here where I live, we don't have any NACS connectors. We only have CCS connectors, which means you're gonna need an adapter anyways. I get it, adapters suck, but doing this method actually slows down the transition to the NACS connector. While the public DC charging infrastructure is making strides at actually getting NACS connectors on them, which is a good thing. Iona is using Alpitronics along with the Walmart. They're putting NACS connectors on their Alpitronic units too. Electrify America had recently begun their pilot program where they're putting NACS connectors on some of their new chargers that they're equipping in the ground. And yeah, NACS is starting to take off in the DC space, which is good. But something that's annoying me personally is that we haven't really seen many NACS connectors in the AC space just yet. I mean, ChargePoint now has one for their home flex units, and I'm sure that you can get these NACS connectors in their public ChargePoint AC units. Well, then they also have the OmniPort too, which allows kind of similar functionality to Tesla's universal wall connector, where of course you have the NACS connector, but then you also have an adapter that the connector holsters into. So that way, if you activate it right, not only will you pull out the connector, but you'll also pull an adapter out with it. It's a nice, simple solution, but it is driving me nuts that yes, in terms of public AC equipment, we haven't really gotten on the 8 ball and making sure that these connectors are equipped with it. Because I mean, come on guys, Teslas still use them frequently. And while sure, yes, every Tesla still comes with one of these, and Tesla owners are quite familiar with using these and have no complaints. What about other EV owners like, say, Hyundai Ioniq users? Or sure, it's annoying that they got to get used to these adapters, but I mean, say they've pulled up to a hotel with only Tesla wall connectors. They are already living the adapter lifestyle anyways. Okay, so I understand why Nissan is putting the Type 1 port on their vehicles. It's just because as of right now, the majority of public AC equipment is using this standard. However, I'm okay with that as long as you make sure you don't disable something else. And unfortunately, this is what both Mercedes plans on doing and what Nissan has already implemented within the Leaf. What they are effectively doing is disabling the AC functionality of the NACS port. Despite that, everyone who knows anything about the NACS transition knows the NACS port supports both AC and DC. Teslas have done it this way for over 12 years and still continue to do it this way. And because Tesla does it this way, and most other automakers have caught on at this point, like Hyundai and Lucid and GM to my knowledge, they've all figured, yeah, because Tesla uses this for both AC and DC charging, this is how we do it too, because this is how everyone knows how the port works. But for Mercedes customers or Nissan Leaf customers that are about to buy the Nissan Leaf, they're going to be thinking the exact same thing because, oh, it's a Tesla. You just plug in the connector and it works. It doesn't matter if you're using a wall connector or a supercharger. You plug it in and it works. However, if you plug in a wall connector into this port, it will not work because Nissan and Mercedes decided to disable the AC charging capabilities of this port, which only adds more confusion to the less EV savvy. EVs already have a big learning curve to them, and if you're not somebody like me who's willing to look into new things and see why the heck do we do the things that we do, or why are these decisions being made here, then yeah, this would just add even more frustration on top of what is already an annoying situation. I just wish that we could speed up this NACS transition even faster, where we could offer retrofit kits for older EVs to get rid of the CCS ports on them and just get the NACS ports on them already. And I wish that Electrify America and EV Go would get on the 8 ball with getting these NACS connectors on them. Iona's ramping up, and thankfully they've got NACS connectors on their chargers. Tesla ain't slowing down anytime soon, but at the same time, it can't just be the DC network operators putting NACS cables on them. We need public AC charging stations to do the exact same thing, such as ChargePoint, Autel, hotels. I mean, a lot of hotels have wall connectors, and honestly, I think hotels should offer universal wall connectors because, oh, would that be very, very helpful. Rivian as well, the Rivian Waypoints network. There's a Rivian AC charger 15 miles from here, which is strange, but yes, I do have one of those close by. It too is also only a Type 1 station. They should update that to NACS as well. And so, yeah, I find it frustrating that Nissan and Mercedes are disabling the AC functionality because for novice EV users, this is only going to confuse them even more. Now, for original Nissan Leaf owners, they're probably already going to be used to this because the original Nissan Leaf and the second gen already had two connectors. You charged it at home via the Type 1 connector or on any public AC station with the Type 1 connector. And when you charge it on the DC charger in public, you're using the CHAdeMO plug. So yeah, existing Nissan Leaf owners are probably already accustomed to this. It's just instead of using CHAdeMO for public DC charging, they're now going to be using NACS for public DC charging. So they're probably already going to be used to this. But for new customers, especially people new to electric vehicles, this only serves to confuse them even more. Even though Nissan did label the NACS port as DC only, the majority of these novice users don't even know what type of power is going into the port. They only care about, oh, is it charging fast or charging slow? They have no idea what type of current is going into these ports. And so when they show up at a hotel and try to plug in a Tesla wall connector into it, they're going to be very confused as of why the car is not going to charge. Seriously, shame on you, Nissan. I have no problems with you still leaving the Type 1 connector on. I get it, but I do have massive problems with you disabling the AC part of the NACS connector because a lot of people know that basically you can plug anything into that charge port and the car will still charge. This is a massive disservice to the EV industry. And so, yeah, Nissan, better get your act together. And I hope the next refresh of the Nissan Leaf fixes this, and it better come fast. So that's my rant on the new Nissan Leaf. I mean, overall, massive improvements, especially where they needed it. Liquid thermal management, route planning, bigger battery, the ability to road trip long enough range. Lots of improvements to this car that I know a lot of drivers are going to be super happy with. But the big thing that they screwed up is they disabled a major capability of the NACS connector, and I cannot stress how much this makes me upset. So that's all I have to say. What do you guys think of this whole thing? Feel free to let me know in the comments down below, and thank you for watching. Do me a favor and interact with the stuff below, and also do me a favor and check out my Patreon page. I would very much appreciate that. This is the Random Alpha Drive, signing out.